Welcome to today's art appreciation session, a time to relax and enjoy a moment of calmness in your day. Today's image is an oil painting by French artist Henri Rousseau, who is also known as Le Douanier because of his job as a customs collector. The painting's called Exotic Landscape, and it was created in 1910. It's quite big at 162 centimetres by 130 centimetres and can be found at the Norton Simon Museum in Pasadena, USA. I invite you to study the painting whilst I give you some background on the artist. Rousseau lived from 1844 to 1910 and seems to have been quite a colourful character. He was a self-taught artist and is associated with naive or primitive art. It seems he joined the 51st Infantry Regiment in 1863, aged 19, after being accused of theft by his employer. He served for 4 years and might have played in the regimental band. In later years, he tended to exaggerate what he had done during his service years, as it seems that his service was uneventful and he didn't serve abroad. After leaving the army, he moved to Paris and worked there as a toll and tax collector from 1871 to 1893. Initially, he collected tolls at the entrance to Paris. He didn't start painting seriously until his early 40s and retired from his job when he was 49 to concentrate on painting full-time. It's said that he supplemented his income by playing the violin on the streets. Along the way, he taught elocution, music and painting, and wrote 2 plays. He had a considerable influence on many avant-garde artists, such as Picasso, Matisse, and the Surrealists, and generations of artists and poets that followed too. In 1908, Picasso held a legendary banquet for him in his studio, which was attended by many artists and critics. Rousseau was positioned on a throne, that is a chair on top of a packing case, and Rousseau played a waltz that he'd composed for his wife. That said, he lived in poverty and few of his paintings sold during his lifetime. He was often ridiculed by art critics. Rousseau is probably best known for his jungle scenes. However, he never actually visited a jungle. He did his research in Paris Botanical Gardens, Natural History Museum and Zoo, as well as using magazines and books. He transformed the material into his own distinctive style. In 1889, there was a universal exposition in Paris which featured reconstructed landscapes from places such as Senegal and Tahiti. This might have provided inspiration for his paintings. He wrote a play called A Visit to the Exposition of 1889, underlining its significance for him. He said that he had no teacher other than nature, and that when I go into the glass houses and I see the strange plants of exotic lands, it seems to me that I enter into a dream. Apollinaire wrote that while painting such scenes, he had to throw open the window to escape from self-induced spells. His first jungle scene was Tiger in a Tropical Storm, Surprised, which was exhibited in 1891. Then a decade later, he began producing many more, including the one that we're looking at today, about 20 in all. His work is recognisable by the attention to detail, the stylised dreamlike qualities, the disproportionate forms, and distinctive strangeness, unconventional and mysterious. His jungle scenes are exotic, with non-realistic scale, and have animals lurking in the undergrowth. Every leaf is drawn separately in a graphic, stylised way. Now let's imagine stepping into the scene where the group of apes are harvesting the oranges. Notice the intensity of the heat and humidity as you enter the scene. the heaviness of the damp air. Breathe it in. Feel the moisture on your face. What would it sound like being in the jungle? All the different sounds, the bird calls, some melodious, some haunting whistles, squawks, screeches, the sound of frogs and crickets, repetitive sounds, an orchestra of exotic noises. The sound of the apes as they compete for the oranges or raise the alarm when they see us approaching. What's the terrain like underfoot? Imagine the snapping of twigs as you step forward, or perhaps the springiness of the undergrowth as you push through the branches. What would it smell like? Notice the earthiness and the heavy perfume of the exotic flowers, the headiness that creates. Breathe it in. The sweet smell of the oranges as they're eaten by the apes. Explore the vegetation. Every leaf has been painted separately. Notice the different shapes and forms, the layers, the varied shades of green, from deep, dark green to the light shades, tinges of blue. The colours of the flowers, the blueness of the sky, tinged with yellow. The lushness, the density, the different types of ape, their expressions, the waves of vegetation, rising and falling, one leading on to another, the swaying of the branches as the apes swing to loosen the fruit. The sound of the oranges thumping to the forest floor as they fall. Survey the scene. Gradually, let the sounds diminish and let the humidity dispel. Step back into your own space. Notice the gentle rhythm of your own breathing and the sounds around you. Notice the room around you. Maybe have a stretch. Now it's time to enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me.